If you bought a Royal Enfield, it was job done. It was king of the hill.
The origins of the Royal Enfield Continental GT 250, not only was it the best handling, but it was the fastest and lightest, and I think best looking available in the UK.
I could see the potential of having a pseudo racer, if you like to call it, something that looked as though it was a quick little model. And I approached the managing director at the time, suggested that we ought to do things like putting a more racy looking petrol tank, clip-on bars, etc. And he said, right, build one up.
The origin of cafe races grew up around London and the southeast of England.
The cinema and the cafe were the two places that young people grouped together in the 50s. And race from one cafe to another is where the concept of cafe racer came.
Press coined the phrase rockers.
To define a rocker, it's just a strip rocker, bikes, leathers, rock and roll.
The most iconic detail for a rocker would have been the leather jacket with jeans and a pair of strong boots.
The young men would take the hottest bikes of the time, they'd lighten them, they'd make them more like the race bikes of the time.
In the early to mid 1950s, you had something called ton-up boys. Ton is 100 miles an hour.
If you could achieve 100 miles an hour, then that was it. You've made it.
I'm the guy to blame. Reopening an establishment renowned for many things, but not particularly necessarily for its food.
If you were a rocker and you came into here, normally at night, this car park would be full of rocker bikes and full of rockers inside. Everything had got to be a punchy rock beat.
Elvis, G. Vincent, Eddie Cochran.
Because we weren't so much into dancing.
I mean, motorcycles have meant rebellion for 100 years or more.
What are you gonna do?
The world moves on, music moves on, styles move on. What doesn't change is human emotion.
We approached Harris Performance and Xenofia for their support in this project.
We sat down and designed the actual geometry, which is fork angle, trail, wheelbase, seat height, type of suspension movement, positioning of engine, gearbox sprocket position, crankshaft centre.
You needed that clip-on, head-down, racing position to look authentic and correct, but at the same time the bike had to have enough suitable manoeuvrability within Indian traffic to be able to zip in and out of two stationary vehicles. And
we build what we call a rough, which is a tubular structure which resembles the finished article.
We also would like to have an engine to be lightest, fastest and powerful engine. The powertrain, the engine has to reflect that kind of a character. 499cc is the base, and then you pick with the bore and cylinder head and other valve modifications.
We stick to the gun and we started rolling out, and the first vehicle, it was a brilliant moment for all of us to enjoy in seeing the Continental GT that getting rolled out of the main line of the Oragadam plant. Here is a product which is a global product, and the technological base which we have at the manufacturing, and with that we are sure that we will be reaching that global mid-size market leader position very soon. You should enjoy it. You should feel there's a cafe racer, there's a classic sports motorcyclist there. So that's the overall intention, and that's we put enormous effort in bringing that out.
Routine, stale bread, cheap tea and beans.
There's an old saying, if it looks right, it generally is right. And that is very true in motorcycle design. And I looked at it and I thought, yeah, that's looking good. It takes you back to when you were, it takes me back to when I was younger. But I think when you actually get riding it, you'll just have a grin on your face. It's that type of bike.
Television, flat drink, wash up, fill up the sink. No care, no think, no soap, no hope, I stink. I know it might seem mean, but baby, I ain't gonna breathe.